many years. I am a restaurant worker. I work with Hotel Restaurant Worker Union Local 2, but I am actually a person who works in the restaurant. And I have to say, a lot of the people that I've been working with over the years, over these last few years, have been evicted and displaced outside the city, whereby in many cases they have to go 50, 60 miles away in order to find affordable housing. This is terrible for our community in the city of San Francisco. It's also terrible for the union movement, because when union workers are displaced and they have long commutes and 12-hour working days, they aren't going to be protesting in front of the hotels or attending meetings when they have to worry about running around for childcare. This is a huge issue for us. Now, we know that Union Local 2 has been able to raise and maintain the standard of workers in the city of San Francisco, and this is what we want to continue to do. Workers must stay in the city. People who live here, people who have grown up here, people who have been born here, who work minimum wage or better jobs but with good benefits, need to be able to stay in the city at rents that they can afford. Once they're kicked out of the city, their whole economic level just disappears. They cannot maintain their family lifestyle. They can't maintain their families anymore because they're spending so much money in housing and commuting. Thank you very much.
It's not the market paying $3.55 right now, but is that going to keep us in our homes? Is that going to keep seniors in their homes? Is that going to keep with folks with disabilities in their homes? Is that going to keep poor?
You started filming, so I had to do something.
What?
You started filming us, so I had to do something entertaining.
Good. That's good. We need more fun.
I guess these guys don't want to be in the video.
They're afraid, I guess, yeah.
I was studying in Manchester. I moved over from there in the UK.
Well, they have a long labor history, don't they? Manchester.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's right.
So what I don't get is people are having to move out the homes.
Yeah.
But you guys are stopping our bus.
Yeah.
I don't get where shouldn't you be going after the guys that are doing the evictions? Or I mean, it's really messed up, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the side that the companies are going to take is like, you know, we're abiding by all the laws and all that sort of stuff. I mean, whether there's corruption going on behind the scenes, I can't like go on.
Well,
I can't take a side with that.
They buy off the politicians and write the laws. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that. I don't know about that, but like at least the laws certainly seem to not be working. If like, you know, I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, down with the 1%, right? Like, I mean, I'm not even in the 1%.
Yanyas, ladies and gentlemen. Jump that's been lifting in the Mission District for a long time. Just press the button. Want me to hold it? Here.
All right. All I have to say is that I've been living in this neighborhood for 36 years. I'm being evicted by Golden Properties, LLC. Ian Torno is the owner. They must recognize him. But it's also fighting for the artistic soul of the mission. The Red Poppy Art Center on 23rd and Folsom is being threatened. Intersection for the Arts, Campo Santo, the Les Latino Theater in San Francisco, it's being threatened. All these other situations that we're facing, this is cultural wars too. This is cultural apartheid. We're being set apart because of the money. The techies come and say, we got the money, you gotta go. So I'm feeling from the heart very sad how it's changing. Not only it's changing the character. Look at the Flower Mart. They bring in $90 million a year. They're being evicted. So it's affecting all of San Francisco, all of the neighborhoods. And I feel it in my heart. I'm very sad for what's happening to our city. And we have to resist the situation. I know it looks bleak, but you know, I come to these things in the hope, you know, that these demonstrations are going to move to Mountain View, to San Jose to Palo Alto. We have a face, we have a soul, and we want to tell those people, you know, you're affecting us. You think you're a distant thunder, but it's raining right here. The lightning is striking right here. So, you know, I just want you to think about that the next demonstration should be over at Google, over at Apple. Thank you.
Stop it now! Stop senior evictions! Stop it now! Stop it! Stop senior evictions! Stop it now! $1.55 fee. People don't realize what kind of negative effect this has on seniors and people with disabilities. For one, I'm unable to get to my doctor in the mornings because the buses block the Muni stop and I can't get on the minibus in my wheelchair without the Muni being able to pull up to the curb. People with vision impairments aren't able to see the minibus from the curb beyond the Google buses because the buses will block it and they're tinted, and so the people can't see when the minibus comes behind it. So a lot of people aren't able to even do the basic things they need, like go to the doctor, visit people, or take part in their community. I was evicted in 1997 from a couple blocks from here, and it took me 8 years just to get back here to San Francisco. And I was homeless for several years because of it. It's unjust and unfair that the city is ignoring people with disabilities and elderly people and their needs in this city to be able to just survive in the city.
Neighborhood has changed. I'm being Ellis acted. I'm fighting, and I encourage everyone who gets an Ellis Act eviction, even a threat of an Ellis Act eviction, find your information out. There's a lot of help out there, and fight it. Because this is not just for us, it's for the city that we love. Because the city we love is made up of the people and not the buildings, not the money. So get out there and fight. I'm fighting too.
Where's the AFT?
I'm just wearing my union shirt. I'm not speaking for the union, but a lot of my colleagues are being priced out of the city as well. Teachers are being disproportionately affected here in San Francisco. So I'm a proud member of AFT 2121 at City College. There are a lot of fights going on in the city for justice, and this is just one of them, and that's why I'm here today. I'm a counselor. I work with students with disabilities.
And we've taken pay cuts.
We've taken pay cuts. I'm making something like 4% less than I did in 2007. As a union, we've done a lot to try to keep the college open, and we're struggling right now on so many fronts.
How do you live with pay cuts and rent?
You just keep cutting back. Just keep cutting back.
Do you think this is the problem with the capitalism, with the system?
I think that you could say that. Yeah. I mean, I just think that the disparity in this country in terms of wealth and the lack of compassion for children at the border these days. There's just so many issues that we need to come out and work for justice on. It's hard to know where to start. My hope lies with the people.
What do you think the union should do about it?
I think the union should work with the people to figure out solutions. And I think unions are being radically affected by the evictions, like they were saying earlier. Working people are not being able to afford to stay in San Francisco.
Is that an issue in negotiations with the union? Right for working class housing, for housing for your members?
I don't think that's come up.
It should?
Of course. I think affordable housing is an issue that's really important to everybody in the United States. Everybody.
You know anybody who's been evicted?
I do, and over the years. So they're my friends, and there are people who are under threat of Ellis Act eviction who are fighting to hold off. The case that's really sort of touched my heart the most is Mary, who's 98 years old on Dolores Street, and a company wants to evict her. She's 98 years old. She'd like to live the rest of her life in her house if she can, and that is really that's gotten me out.
it's kind of a death sentence?
Well, I hope not, but it certainly seems that way. It really shows how greedy we've become as a culture. No, the culture. You know that the money makers are so greedy that they would put out a 98-year-old so they could make a new condo. You know, unbelievable. 98 years old.
Has your union made a statement about this issue?
You know, I don't know. Offhand, we've been making a lot of statements about a lot of things. Our accreditation is under attack by the ACCJC. And I think, you know, corporate interest.
People who are in their homes and disabled who have been displaced have no place to go. They used to be able to move from one apartment to the next apartment in the same neighborhood. Not anymore. It's impossible. Rents in my neighborhood, I'm telling you, a one-bedroom apartment, $4,100 a month. A two-bedroom apartment, $6,500 a month. What elderly person on Social Security can afford that? That's not possible. These are citizens of San Francisco. Our city has left them rot. They're not doing enough. Scott Wiener is not doing enough. He's not doing enough. We need people to stand up for the citizens who pay the taxes, who make the city run.
And you're blaming the Google bus.
I am blaming the city of San Francisco in cahoots with the people like Ron Conway and the Google people. They can stop this. We should be getting $275 or so for every Google stop. Remember that little law they passed? They can get $1 a stop. $1 a stop. Is that enough? If you parked in a muni parking space, you would have to pay a fine. They do not pay a fine. They have this illusory $1 fine per stop. That's nothing. That will also, they cause ecological damage. They're huge. They're heavy. We have to pay for road repair. We have to be careful when we cross the streets that they're not going to run us over. How do we know that they can see us? You see how huge they are. I mean, they're not what we need in this city. These are buses that should be out on the highways, not in the neighborhoods.
So why hasn't Ed Lee and the Board of Supervisors done anything?
Ed Lee doesn't care. Let's just put it that way. We know that. He's in cahoots. He's in absolute cahoots with the tech people. He's making money. He's making deals. He's doing this. He's doing that. But he's not representing the citizens.
And you're a member of Local 2?
I am. Proud member of Local 2, the best union in the city.
And what does Local 2 say about this issue?
Actually, I've heard only one. I've been to a rally one time where, of course, my union president sticks up for the renters, of course, because displacement is a terrible thing for community. Community is destroyed by displacement. Voting demographic is destroyed by displacement. You know, that is the reality. Our neighborhood is no longer recognizable. My neighbors have all been evicted. Those who haven't accepted buyouts, you know, they were threatened. Either we'll evict you or take the money. That's no way to roll. The solution is moratorium on Ellis Act evictions and all no
information station. You're blocking traffic. If you could.
3440 but it'll be like plus, you know, the anti-spec and all this.
Hey, my name is Fran Taylor, and on August 4th, 1977, there was a huge eviction in San Francisco. The International Hotel on Kearny and Jackson was filled with, it was a single room occupancy hotel, retired seamen, farm workers, mostly Filipino, but mixed, Chinese, white, African American, living somewhat collectively. And thousands of people went down there in the middle of the night and saw these people dragged out with their bird cages, with their lives, and thrown out in the street, many of them in their 80s. Many of them died shortly thereafter. I'm proud to say that I was 27 years old in 1977, and I was there. And we invite the 27-year-olds in these buses to do something, to fight, to not just be a tool of their corporate masters. This isn't a fight against young people. We invite the young people to join us. And 37 years later, now I'm the senior. And they're going to be old too. Think about
tech shuttle buses and tech shuttle riders. If you're inconvenienced this morning, imagine if you were a 98-year-old woman like Mary Elizabeth Phillips, who has been hit with an Ellis Act eviction, who has lived in her Dolores Street home for more than 40 years. This is beautiful this morning, seeing elders and people with disabilities and people who have true love for the community come out on behalf of the community and on behalf of artists and writers and people such as seniors that have given the character and given the heart to San Francisco to make it the city that it is. On Monday, August the 4th, is the 37th anniversary of the evictions of elders from the International Hotel. My uncle, the poet Al Robles, was very instrumental in the rebuilding of the I Hotel. There is going to be a press conference commemorating that important event. And as Filipino Americans, as Filipino people, one of the things that is in our deep structure, one of the things that we honor and cherish is the respect and honor of our elders. And we cherish that so much that people like Al Robles and Bill Sorrow fought for more than 30 years to have affordable senior housing at the site of the old I Hotel. 102 units of affordable senior housing.
Passed out on the stairs, but as the neighborhood got more ritzy and the money started coming in, first started with the .com, then it crashed, and then now that the tech boom is happening, it's even worse. People are being thrown out of their places all over the Mission, longtime residents like myself. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm on a very limited income. It's terrifying. My out date is August 27th. I'm fighting it. We'll be in court. I'll be dragged out of my apartment rather than leave voluntarily. I think it's so important for people to fight this, because if we don't fight it now, then they'll take over the city. And when I mean them, I mean greed. It's destroying San Francisco. I moved into a city in 1970 that I loved because of the people and the acceptance and the political and social activism going here. When you remove all the people who are in that category and just want to have six-figure income people here, you destroy the soul of this city. You just eviscerate it. And I think I love the city so much, I will stand and fight for it. And so that's what makes me step forward. I'm having my problem, but the city is having its problem. And there are a lot of people who can't stand up and speak for whatever their reasons are. Many are just they're spending their time working and looking for housing. So I feel it's really important to stand up. It's really important to fight everyone who's getting an Ellis Act eviction. There's a lot of support out here for you. You got to fight. Can't give up. They try to intimidate people and tell them, oh, take this buyout, because if you don't, we're going to Ellis Act you, and then you'll get less money, and you can't fight it. There's nothing you can do. Well, I just want to say, yes, you can fight it. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's a lot of support here for it.
My name is Benito Santiago. I'm born and raised, first generation born Filipino here in San Francisco. I've been evicted on the Bosch Triangle, on the Bosch between Valencia and Guerrero. Apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, 4 units. I've been there since 1977, ladies and gentlemen. 37 years. 37 years, a lot of history, a lot of changes. I'm okay with the tech people moving in, but what I question is who are they displacing in the process? Who are they taking out in the process? We're talking about people that lived here for years, people that have their roots here for decades, including myself. I'm a special ed paraprofessional in the San Francisco Unified School District. I cannot afford the market rate or even the below market rate that's being charged right now. What I'm paying in a rent control is about maybe about a tenth of what they're charging in the market today. And I have to also speak on behalf of seniors, disabled, which I am also, as well as educators. We got educators, teachers at Phillips Halliburton, where I work in special ed, that cannot afford to live in the city. Teachers in City College in San Francisco that I volunteer in the ballroom and dance class that can't afford to live in the city. Teachers that probably have taught our tech people the basics in terms of ABCs. People who work in hospitals and caregivers that are probably taking care of their grandmothers and children. People that serve them food cannot live in San Francisco. So I speak for all those people who cannot speak for themselves. And I say, hell no, we won't go.